Good afternoon and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Joyce and I do all things personal development. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that because it really helps the channel. Today I want to talk about something that plagued me for a long time, and I hope these tips will help somebody who might be sort of there at this point and you want to work towards having a healthier relationship with yourself and people around you. But also, you might be second guessing yourself and thinking, I don't know that I have, because it's different things to different people. But I think the most important thing when you're thinking about self-confidence is, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about other people around you? And are you okay to move and follow your dreams in a way that supports your current system? So I think the first thing when you're thinking about confidence is that you lack boundaries. And what I mean by that is if everybody has access to you whenever they choose to do it. If people want you to go around their house at midnight, are you the person that shows up for them? Are you the person that's always on call? I used to be that person. And I remember when I tried to make that change around, actually, you can't have access to me after 9 p.m. People were a bit sort of, especially family members, were a bit like, why can't you answer my phone when I call you? I'm saying, and my point was, if the same problem, sorry, let me just fix my hair there. If the same problem exists at 9 p.m., it will most likely still be there at 9 a.m. in the morning. And if it's not my immediate circle, then you don't really need me. And besides, you probably need to learn how to deal with your own mess. And so I had to put boundaries around what time I was accessible to people, what I was willing or not willing to do. Because even at work, right, do you take on work that belongs to other people in the hope that you will be recognized or that people will acknowledge the extra mile that you constantly take? I can tell you now, they won't. One of the things that people appreciate about leadership, about people, is that they are able to say no. So no became a really, really powerful word in my vocabulary. And now I almost try and say no more than I say yes, because whenever I say yes, it means everything else in my life or something in my life has to shift. So the first thing I would say is boundaries. The other thing I would say that was quite prominent in my life as well was the lack of failure. Sorry, the fear of failure, right? So lack of failure? It is the fear of failure. And why is that a sign of low self-confidence? I think that if you have grown up in a space where you had to be successful, and if you failed, it meant that you were not living up to the standard that your community, your family, your those around you or those that looked up to you admired or felt that they, you let them down. It was a pretty good sign. It is a pretty good sign because you are constantly having to think about, what if I fail? What will people think about me? And if you're worried about what people will think about you, it's a huge, huge red flag that other people's opinion means more to you than your own happiness or your own success. And we've got to get rid of that, because you can't be living your life for other people. You've got to have the courage to know that ultimately, at the end of it all, it is you and your purpose. It is you and your life. It is about how you feel you lived your life. So it's really, really important. And I cannot say this enough. If you have a fear of failure, it's most likely that you do not feel good about yourself. And it's just one of those things that you might need to keep in check. And make sure that it's not about other people. Maybe it's about your skill level. So work on your skill and go for it. Because we make excuses, don't we, as to why we fear something. And I was a classic at that. To me, it was like, well, I don't have the education. So I went and got, this degree and that master's, and that training, constantly overtraining, and not really realizing that ultimately that doesn't add to your bow. It actually means that you need to address the issue that's underneath it all. Because you see people like Richard Branson who are running mega million business, right? Major businesses worth, I want to say billions, but it's probably millions at this point. It was a big shot in the, I think it was more the 90s really, and the noughties. With no education, and yet here you are completely overeducated, but you can't make the move to start your own business if that's what you want, because you fear failure. I would check on that. The other thing I would say is that if you feel drained all the time when you hang out with people that are supposed to be your system or your bedrock or your support, and I think I realized that one of the reason I was feeling drained is either because I was listening too much to people that are talking a lot of add the expletive, or I was just not being myself. And that is a huge sign that if you are worried about what people think about you, if you're worried about saying the wrong thing or the right thing or the inappropriate thing, your circle is not the right one. People need to be comfortable with who they are. Now, there are boundaries, of course, when you're at work. There is a way of behaving. But for example, if they ask, so say it's Halloween or Christmas, those two are the ones that are coming up in my sphere. But imagine that your team has organized a dinner and you have something else planned, but you're unable to say no. So you show up anyway. Well, you're showing up knowing that you've let other things down, but you felt like you needed to attend. And so when you're there, you're not even there really, because you'd rather not be in attendance. And so all of that is playing in the back of your mind, which means that when somebody's talking to you, you're not present. When somebody's talking to you, you're not engaging. Or you end up completely zipping it up because you don't want to say stuff, or you don't really want to be honest with how you feel. And so it's really important that you learn to say, again, that word, no. Learn to be yourself. People will like you or leave you. Ultimately, I think initially there's going to be a clear up, because people are not going to be used to this new person, these new boundaries that you're having. And so you've got to be comfortable of letting go of people that are not meant to be there, and align yourself with people, new group of people, to reveal the new you, if you want. And the other thing I want to say is, the last thing I want to say is, when you walk away from a meeting, a conversation, a catch up, and you're overthinking, or you're thinking about it a week later, 4 weeks later, etc., etc. If you're overthinking it, it means that you are not really fully living in the true expression of yourself within those circles. So check yourself and remember that you are the most important person in your life. And if you are not taking care of you, it means that it's unlikely somebody else will. Because the way you treat yourself is the way other people, or you attract people that treat you the way you treat yourself. So it's really imperative that you put in the work and do what is necessary to change your life. Have an amazing day. I'm sorry that was a little bit too long. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care.